Nice
Hey,
hat.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thanks for having me
It's
back on.
yeah, always good to see you, Chris. How are things going?
Any better, I'd be guilty.
You know it's so true. I got to tell you, in this sick, twisted, whatever this is we have going on right now, the worse it gets, the better I feel for some reason because I know the end of this nonsense is near. So I'm like, let's just get it on, shall we? Come on, bring it on. We're ready.
No doubt. I'm with you.
All
Awesome.
right. Well, without further ado, I guess we might as well make this a formal introduction, shall we? You
All right.
ready?
Do
All
it.
right. Chris
Yep.
Hoar with the Satellite Phone Store. Chris, always great to have you back on. I'm glad we can get a chance to do these chats. You and I apparently coordinated through our fashion coordinators today with our matching. Well, you have better hat than I do. I'm wearing Cabela's, but I do like Cabela's. So, you know.
Well, you got to show your support for the flag and show you believe in your country.
That's exactly right. And I do support the Second Amendment, and so does Cabela's. So we're good with that. But listen, I wanted to have you back on. It's important that we continue as we get closer and closer because we're being kettled like fish. And it's seemingly, we're not really in control. I mean, we could be if we all organized ourselves around our counties and decided to start notifying these corrupt politicians that work locally in our own backyard. But since we're not really there yet as a nation and we haven't kind of come to terms with our civic duty, we might as well be prepared for the fish that we are being kettled into this cyclone that they're about to impart called the storm on us. And they're losing. We know the deep state's losing, but they're going to win in certain aspects by making our lives very uncomfortable. And they've already started with this nonsense at the universities, Antifa, BLM. The same recycled actors are out. They're getting arrested and getting let go. But that doesn't mean that we aren't in danger. It doesn't mean that people aren't getting attacked. They are. But it also means that we need to be prepared. So to beat the, keep beating the drum of preparedness, what's on your bucket list for preparations as we get kettled further down the path of the storm?
Well, and you're absolutely right. There is a clear and present danger that we can see evolving on our television sets from college campuses to what's going on in the Middle East and around the world. We have a lot of enemies, and those enemies feel emboldened by maybe a lack of action, some might say, on behalf of the United States. But either way, we are being attacked. If you look at what's going on with the attacks on the power grid, on the cell phone networks, on the air traffic control systems, on our banks, our hospitals, our pharmacies, these aren't attacks that end with explosions or start with explosions, but they are coming from those adversaries and those bad state actors around the world that want to see the end of the United States as we know it. They're threatened by democracy, they're threatened by freedom, and they want to put a stop to us and crush us. And so, the FBI director has been warning us for months now that China has tens of thousands of people working on hacking our infrastructure and our utilities. And this is just some of the stuff that we know about. There's an awful lot more we're not being told, but we see the results, right? When cell services don't just go down across the country because of mistakes, they go down because they're being attacked. Power
Yes.
utilities, the power doesn't just go out, en masse because of an error. These are attacks, but again, people don't like to own up to them. I mean, a lot of people know about the Las Vegas casinos that never like to admit getting robbed because no one wants to go to a casino that gets robbed, but they do get robbed, right? And they keep
Yeah.
it quiet. And, I get it. But when it's utilities and hospitals and banks and so on, we need to know. I think we have a right to know what's really going on because it will affect us all. And so I think the number one thing that we can do to help here at sat123.com is make sure that all Americans have some kind of communication, emergency communication system that will work if and when the inevitable happens and the cell networks go down across the country, as we've seen happen again in the last couple of months. We've seen huge outages, and when the cell service goes down, you've got nothing. But if you have a satellite phone, you are going to be able to make and receive calls or send and receive text messages no matter what's going on. And then to me, I mean, it doesn't get more patriotic than being prepared.
I agree. I agree. And I just got back. I was in some meetings over the past couple of days with, believe it or not, people that aren't from this country and see exactly what's happening. They understand who the bad state actors are. And it's not just here, Chris. They're everywhere. Let's face it. Worldwide government, in my humble opinion, is nothing more than a RICO influenced, racketeering influenced criminal organization. It's a RICO. It's a worldwide RICO criminal syndicate going on. And these people have created boogeymen all over the place. And you've got bad state actors on top of the boogeymen they created. So it's as if it's a free-for-all for just the bad people to do with as they please. And right now, the Western countries are seriously under attack. I mean, I just want to point this out right here. This came out on Reuters a couple of days ago that Russia has warned Britain it could strike back after Cameron's remarks on Ukraine. So take a look at this. The British ambassador was summoned by the Russian foreign minister and it was basically excoriated for his irresponsible attacks and basically saying, hey, yeah, Great Britain sold a bunch of missiles to Kyiv and they're stationed there. And the Russians are like, whoa, 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 you're putting NATO weapons on our border? Excuse me? Now you are considered an enemy combatant and now you are potentially in the line of fire. And this could escalate quickly. I don't know that it is. I'm not suggesting that it is. I've been saying for some time, Putin is the cooler, most composed adult in the room. But now you see that the United Kingdom is expelling Russia's defense attaché over their, quotes, malign activity. It's all, again, a big show, nonetheless. But again, this is rhetoric we can't ignore. And again, if those guys decide to have some sort of exchange, whether it's nuclear or not, it could very easily metastasize right over here. Because again, Article 5 of NATO says we have to support our friends over there, as demonic as they are. So going back to satellite, will that work in some kind of wartime setting? Is that usually what the military relies upon?
Yeah, it's the only thing that's going to work. I mean, you're absolutely right. The U.S. military has relied on this, the exact same satellite communications that we provide at sat123.com since the 90s. And the reason is because they know this is the only thing that works, anywhere on Earth, no matter what's going on the ground. Satellite phones don't rely on ground-based infrastructure. They communicate directly with the satellites in the sky. So if a cell tower goes down, your cell phone's not going to work. If the power grid goes down, your cell phone's not going to work because it'll take out the cell towers. But a satellite phone is immune to all of that. And that's exactly why the U.S. military used them. The men and women who have been brave enough and are brave enough to serve in the U.S. Military around the world, God bless them all, in the sandbox in Iraq and Afghanistan will tell you, these are the phones that they use, not just to communicate on the battlefield, but to call their folks back home, so this is what they rely on. And so I look at things like, who does the government rely on? Who's the military rely on for their communications? And say, that's what I want for my communications, right? Because there's nothing better you can get. And then for many years, these satellite phones were the purview of the wealthy and the billionaires and the elites. But to sat123.com, we decided a long time ago, we wanted to make these available to the hardworking, average American working man and women, so that they can be saved, so their lives can be saved, and they can communicate when we are in danger or under attack. So to that end, we now provide the satellite phone for free with activation. You get a free satellite phone with activation. Activation is starts at like $85 a month. For a sat phone, and that will give you 100 minutes a month that roll over if you don't use them. But anywhere else in the country, any other satellite phone provider is going to charge you $1,000 to $2,000 for the very same phone you're showing there for free right now.
Yeah,
that's we take that hit, but we take it willingly and gladly, because we know it means we're getting satellite communications in the hands of another American family that can then protect themselves and can help protect us should the worst case scenario happen.
I think it's tremendous that you make this equipment free to the public. I mean, look, it's $789 if you want to go and save $9 a month on your monthly fee. But for a free phone, you're going to get 50 minutes more. It's $9 more a month. It is by far worth it because those minutes roll over. And again, if you can't afford $95 a month, and I get it, times are tough, you can go in on this with family members, friends, what have you. But if you get 10 people, it's the one-time charge per person of $94.95, and you have 1,500 minutes to use in case of an emergency, and you go in on it together. And I would suggest it's people within your radius. It's a very inexpensive tool for everybody to have. Of course, you're going to want to encourage your friends and family around the world to have these as backups as well, because again, it comes down to being able to stay connected. You can still call satellite to cellular, but no guarantee the cell will work. Sat to sat works. Quick question, Chris. One of the tools I really love is this right here, this bivy stick. This, I think, is a fantastic device because it works in conjunction with your cell phone while your cell is connected to it using Bluetooth. So your cell phone doesn't necessarily need to be on the cellular network, but if it's got Bluetooth, it can become a texting device using the satellite connection of the bivy stick, correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, look, if you have the bivy stick in your pocket, you can put in your pocket. It's about the size of a pack of cigarettes for anyone who remembers what that looks like. If you put that in your pocket, you just leave it on and it hooks up to your phone by Bluetooth. And on your phone, you just get a free app for an Android or Apple device. And you'll then be able to text through the satellite network. And what that means, I know that all sounds like a lot, but if your cell towers are down, and so you can't get service, you have no bars, you'll still be able to send and receive text messages, through your cell phone with the bivy device in your pocket. So that's incredible. And even if you don't have a chip in your phone at all, you'll still be able to use the bivy to send and receive text messages. You know, so that's pretty incredible. Normally, this is over $300 for this device. But again, when you activate at sat123.com, you're getting that for free, and then you're just paying a monthly fee for the usage of the sending and receiving the text.
And last but not least, because the mushroom in the White House is threatening climate emergencies and lockdowns and stuff, and we know the WHO is planning their lockdown. I mean, this is going to be a long, hot summer. We've been warned about this. We've read the playbook. We know it's coming. So let's not be caught without power supply on the backup side. I love it. I have the EcoFlow backup, the river backup power supply. It comes with the I think it's 200 watt charger. I can put it outside for the solar power and capture the power that way if I need to recharge it. But that sucker will power my refrigerator, my freezer. I would need to leave it plugged in all the time. I plug it in 3 hours, maybe every 24 hours, just to keep my fridge and freezer cold. But it's unbelievable. I can run my cable off it. I can run my laptop off it. Some lights, even an air conditioner. It's really quite extraordinary how powerful these things are. This is this in your toolkit, Chris?
Absolutely. I have a small one here on my desk and a large one out in the back there in the garage, because look, we've seen numerous interruptions to power, and they happen just from natural events. These terrible tornadoes and floods we've been seeing recently can cause the power to go out. You don't want to be without power. For some people might say it's a luxury, but it's not a luxury when that power supply is powering the fridge that has your water and the air conditioning that's keeping you alive. Right. So these are no joke. And these devices are just another essential part of a prep kit. So I know everyone has the extra water and ammo and medical supplies, and that's great and that's necessary. But if you don't have communications and you don't have power, and by the way, again, all these devices can be recharged through solar panels. So you don't need anything else. Once you have the solar panels on one of these devices, you can have ongoing power generation until power or if or when power is restored. But these, if you're prepared and the worst case does happen, then you are taking the strain off the men and women of the military and the first responders and the National Guard, because you will be a part of the solution, not the problem.
That's right. Well, we all want to be part of the solution. We're working very diligently to restore our republic. I mean, all the people out there, big thank you for all the work you've done in election integrity, in learning about the fraud of COVID and providing the natural, holistic, homeopathic solutions to help people prevent, treat, and also COVID, as well as overcome the jab bioweapon detoxing that needs to, continue on, because so many people have been harmed by these shots. But again, we don't need to be victims. We can be victorious. The tools are here. Sat123.com. Chris Hoar, you're such a valuable resource. Thank you for coming on from time to time to help me remind everybody that I, can connect with, that these are the kind of tools I have, you have, anybody with half a brain should have. They need these tools. And if you can't afford them, please figure out how to go in on them with somebody else, so you have a shared responsibility for your families of providing communications and backup power, because it's a hot summer. It's already hot down here in Florida. So thank you, Chris.
Thanks very much, Ann.